what we're sewing, what we want to sew, any sewing questions, quilting questions, crafting questions. I like to answer them here live. So when you're coming on the live feed, just drop a comment, let me know where you're from, so I can say hello. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. If you've been working on something this week that you need an answer to, or if there's a sulky product that you want to try, but you're not sure if it's good for your project, things like that. Just let me know in the comments and I will start addressing them. So for today's Facebook Live, I have been seeing a lot on social media about quarantine quilts. I don't know if you all have been seeing posts like this or quilts that people are making during their quarantine or their time of isolation, but it's pretty remarkable some of the quilts that people are posting both on Instagram and on Facebook. Just progress shots of their work and ways that they're using their stash in really creative designs, things like this, and always using the hashtag quarantine quilt so that if you want to search quarantine quilt, you can see what everybody is up to. And it's really quite fascinating to see the creativity that comes out of all of us when A, we are under distress or stress, and B, when there's sort of a collective movement going on, and C, when we are left to our devices and we actually have more time. It's just really fascinating to see the things that people are coming up with. So I thought I would ask you first, have you heard about these quarantine quilts? Are you making a quarantine quilt? Are you concerned about running out of supplies for your quarantine quilt? I would like to hear from you, and let's address some of those questions. First of all, I do want to say that Sulky is fulfilling orders right now. So if you need thread, if you need stabilizer for your embroidery projects, if you want to make masks and you want to make them out of stabilizer, we have had some people making face masks out of Sulky Cutaway Plus, and they're grabbing up bolts of that to make tons of face masks to donate to healthcare professionals and the like. Things like that. Sulky.com is your answer to get those items fulfilled. Let's see. What else do I have to talk about regarding that? Our Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago was all about creating face masks, and I did have one of my daughters in on the feed. You may have seen Riley in her finest. So today, let's hope that the Facebook Live is a little quieter so that we can get down to some business here today. But, we are all juggling with doing a lot of things we aren't normally used to doing, whether that is even just being around with our pets all day. I can only imagine the stress it's kind of putting on our pets to be like, hey, man, I'm supposed to be napping right now, and you want to take me on another walk? Things like that. I mean, the world is just disrupted for everyone, all creatures, and we're in this together. So if we can join in on a Facebook Live and ask our questions, get answers from our fellow sewists, and just kind of feel like we are supported, then if we've accomplished anything today, hopefully we will accomplish that. So in talking about these quarantine quilts, I actually found this resource. It's the Wisconsin Museum of Quilts and Fiber Arts. And they are actually commissioning quilt blocks that represent this time of quarantine. And if you go on this site, just Google the quarantine quilt and it'll come up. If you go on this site, you'll see a bunch of blocks that people have already donated to the cause. There's a block that really struck a chord with me, and it was the earth with a big face mask over it. There are quilts like this, quilts that honor our first responders, things like that. So check out this resource. And if you want to get involved, I just put up this graphic here so you can see what they're looking for if you want to donate a block that kind of represents your time in quarantine, in isolation, in the stay-at-home order. That you can get your creative juices flowing and participate in this effort. And just in general, it's a good time to get out a quilt project. You can actually probably start and finish a whole quilt in this time. And I think that's what the quarantine quilt started out as. From what I read, it started out as an effort to say, hey, during this time, let's put our energy into something creative. Let's make a whole quilt from start to finish during this time. And it doesn't have to represent your feelings or your surroundings during the quarantine. It can be whatever quilt you want it to be. As we know, quilts are great stash buster projects. You can make your blocks out of little tiny pieces of leftover older projects. You can make your quilts out of brand new fabrics. Obviously, you can choose your own adventure where that is concerned. And if you're looking for a great quilt project, we happen to be presenting one today in our free webinar. And our webinar starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time today. So it's in just a little short of an hour today. And we will be joined by Desiree Habich. Let me get her in the stream here. This is a picture of Desiree. Isn't she cute? Desiree is the founder of Desiree's Designs, and it's basically an embroidery design company, a quilt design company. She shares a lot of great patterns that you can create, and she created a quilt specifically for our webinar. There is a sulky version of this quilt, and it is called the Color Me Chameleon quilt. And the reason it's called Color Me Chameleon is because it features Desiree's Color Me quilt techniques. So not only are we going to learn about adding machine embroidery to quilts, quilting in the hoop, which is one of my favorite things to do because the embroidery machine does so much of the work for you, but also we are going to learn how to further embellish our quilt using some textile medium and some really, really cool art supplies. I was going to give away a little bit more, but I'll wait till the webinar. So just a little sneak peek. This is the chameleon, which is the focal point of the quilt today. And you can make it as colorful as you want, and you will learn Desiree's techniques for coloring in the design, creating different shades, making it kind of like a watercolor effect. It is just really, really neat. And you will want to apply these embellishment techniques to a number of things that you create. But what I really like about it and the timing of this webinar is, we've got time right now. We've got time right now to make a whole quilt, to really take our time in embellishing it and taking care and learning something new. And this webinar really encapsulates all those things into one project. It'll keep you busy. It'll get your mind going. And, it's something that you can take through multiple other projects. So I think you guys will really like it. Again, the webinar is free. This is actually the finished quilt. This is what the pattern looks like. The finished quilt has that large scale chameleon in the center that is colored all with these really, really cool pencils. And then it's got a limited edition fabric line. The Color Me Chameleon fabrics that Desiree also designed. And let me just tell you, trying to get these fabrics and enough fabrics to package our kits was quite a bit of a challenge. So if you do love these fabrics, you'll want to gobble up today's kit because they're not going to last. Basically, once they're gone, they're gone. So come to the webinar, be inspired by Desiree's techniques, learn how to make this awesome quilt. Get your kit today while it's on sale. For those of you who don't know, when we do a webinar, we feature a kit that goes along with the webinar topic. It might be something that showcases the technique, or we might take you all the way through the project from start to finish. It all depends on the webinar and the guest. And the kit is always a screaming deal the day of the webinar. At midnight tonight, the price is going to go up to retail price. So you'll want to register for that webinar so that you can have access to those special deals. And not only is the kit on sale, but we like to throw in tons of other goodies that are related products to the webinar that are also at a really good deal. So today is a great time to take advantage of all these specials, stock up on some stuff that you're going to need while you are under this sort of house arrest so that you can get a lot of projects done. And, you know, why not start early on Christmas gifts too? You can make this quilt in any number of sizes as well. So if you don't want a full quilt, but you love the look of it, you could make a table runner. You could make a set of placemats and gift them to someone. The chameleon's really bright colors, as you can see. Great for patio decor, great for summer sunshine. I think you guys are really going to love it. So that is about the webinar. If anybody has any questions, I'm just going to kind of check. And lots of people making masks. You know, after our Facebook Live about making face masks, we did create a Facebook group. It's called Sew Masks with Sulky. And a lot of people have joined that group, and it's kind of our repository for all of the mask making information that we're finding out there. So it's just kind of your one-stop, not shop, but your one-stop for searching through all the patterns, looking at all the research. You know, is this one going to protect someone better than this one? You know, Sulky is not in any way able to say this particular way is what the CDC recommends and this particular fabric is going to protect better. We can't speak to any of that. So in order to help you do your own research and figure out how to make the right mask for you, we created this Facebook group that you can join. And you can also chat with other people who are making masks right on that Facebook group. So not only can you do a bunch of research, get a bunch of different patterns, figure out, you know, what works best for you, but you can also chat and figure out what other people are doing. And maybe they have needs in their community that you can help with, or vice versa. So you can join the Sew Masks with Sulky Facebook group, and hopefully that'll be a good resource for you while you're making your own masks, because I know a lot of people are doing assembly line sewing right now and just churning out as many masks as they possibly can. And it is so awesome to see this humongous effort by all of our sewers and quilters out there. I'm blown away just in my own community. I didn't even know some of my friends had sewing machines. And here they are getting them out of the closet, teaching themselves again how to sew, teaching their kids how to sew. And it's really just amazing. Okay, I've got some questions to ask. So let me see. I also want to mention I am going to do a giveaway today. And it's actually going to be a grab bag giveaway. So you're going to have no idea what the giveaway is, but in order to be eligible for today's giveaway, all you have to do is comment on the post, share the post, like the post, somehow engage with today's post, and I will contact you after our webinar today, because that's coming up right after this live feed. I'll comment and I'll send you a surprise goodie bag from Sulky. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, I decided to just keep that one under wraps today. And then I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I gave away at the end of today's webinar. So later tonight, I'll comment on this post, and then I'll also tell you on our next Facebook Live what our grab bag was for today. So let's see, we've got a lot of comments coming in. Make sure that you use that link to join the webinar. You can still register up until the very moment that it starts. So make sure that you're registered. Okay. Oh, hey, Fort Collins. Hey, Arizona. I love it. Hi, Sharon. Sharon is one of my buddies from our Craft Tours Germany trip that we went on last year. Oh, wasn't it fun when we could travel? Oh, Deb's here too. Deb was also on the tour. You know, we got to know each other really, really well. It was so awesome. Okay, missed the beginning. What is the webinar on? All right, just to recap, today's webinar is called the Color Me Chameleon Quilt. I will show this again. We are going to learn these Color Me quilt techniques, which is adding this sort of painted embellishment to your quilts. And what you're seeing right now is an embroidery design that is this chameleon, and you can see it's just stitched with black thread, and then we fill it in with all these different colored pencils, and then we're going to give it kind of a a watercolor effect, and that's going to be the focal point of our quilt. So ultimately, we will have a quilt top looking like this. It's a really, really fascinating technique, and Desiree, who is our special guest, Desiree does various teachings about this across the country, and her classes are always sold out. Always. You know, if you go to Puyallup Sewing and Stitchery Expo, you can't get into her class. It's sold out. So take it today for free during this webinar, and you'll love it. Just going to give you the high points, the sort of overview of her class, and you'll understand how to do the embellishment on the quilt. And yes, there is a chameleon involved in the pattern. It is the Color Me Chameleon after all. So again, here is what the chameleon looks like. It's just an amazing piece of art. Desiree is quite an artist. She has another site as well that features a lot of her fine art, but that's how she got into quilting. And so I'm so glad that she's in the embroidery area as well, because it allows us to put her art onto our things in a very, very easy way through the embroidery machine. So, okay, let's see if we have any other questions. Looking forward to the webinar. I'm so glad. I'm really looking forward to the webinar too. You know, it's a nice break in the middle of our day where we get to learn something new, where we get to be together, where you get to ask questions live and they get answered by the designer herself. Not very many education platforms allow you to do that. So it's a really, really great resource. Yes, the webinar is happening. You guys are so funny today. I absolutely love interacting with you. I also wanted to say, you know, speaking of getting kids into sewing and making masks, which I tried to do last week with my Riley, you know, they really like picking out the fabrics. Then we get into the nitty gritty of things and it's, you know, they're out of here. But, you know, my kids have been exposed to sewing for as long as they could open their eyes. You know, my youngest was, I think, 3 months old when he was first on the Sew It All TV set. You know, he's been around this his whole life. And so when they see me getting out a bunch of fabric, they get real excited to pick things out. That's their favorite thing. So not only have I started letting them pick out fabrics, but then they get to go over to the thread storage boxes and start picking out thread. And I just recently finished a pajama pants sew along with So English fabrics. So English has a lot of knit fabrics, performance wear fabrics, and they're awesome quality and so cute. And so they put on this Kids Sew Along, and I launched it on the first couple of days making pajama pants with my kids. That was a little bit more successful because I was able to edit those videos. So you can hop on over to the So English Sew Along Facebook group if you want to check those out. But the reason that I bring that up is because, so I made a bunch of pajama pants with my kids. This is Riley's. She chose these llamas. And when I asked her to pick the thread for the serger, she just picked out 4 of her favorite colors for the 4 threads that we were using in the serger. Now, these are for construction seams, but even if they were exposed seams, they're pajama pants. It's not like we're making, a prize winning garment here. And if she wants 4 colors that have nothing to do with this print, she's going to have it. And so see here, the waistband, we've got 4 different colors that you could see from the serger. And we went around the waistband at least 3 times because she really likes putting her foot to the floor on the serger. But, as long as they're having fun, if the kids can't guide their hands under the machine or, near the needle because they're a little bit too young, let them pick out fabrics. Let them pick out threads. Let them cut out a doll version of the pants that you're making. And I bet you it's going to sew up just fine. Totally great. So at any rate, these are the things that I try to involve my kids in, even if I know they may not be able to make the final finished sample. It might be something for photography, for sulky, giving them some scraps, having them pin them around a doll or even just drape fabric around a doll. They're getting the idea of how clothes are made and how it comes together and how you need to have pretty side spacing in order to make a seam. And, just those fundamentals that they're kind of learning and getting in the back of their minds that will help them later on when they are old enough, or a little bit older, and can handle a little bit more direction at the sewing machine. So, okay, great. Lots of you have registered for the webinar. I'm so excited. Just checking if we've got any more. Remember, comment, like, share the post today, and you could be winning a sulky grab bag of goodies. I'm going to put something special together for you. And, oh, love my necklace. I should talk about my necklace. Thanks, Leanne. Can you guys see it? It says Maker. It's one of my favorite necklaces, and it's in this rose gold. So even when I'm home alone, I'm getting out of my pajamas every so often, putting on some jewelry. So thanks for noticing, Leanne. If you guys are interested in this Maker necklace, it's actually at sulky.com. So you can add that to your purchase. It's pretty inexpensive. Again, it makes another great gift for if you have somebody that has a birthday coming up in quarantine, surprise them with a cute necklace, things like that. But at any rate, I am excited to make this quarantine quilt with all of you this afternoon. We don't have to call it quarantine quilt. Let's call it Color Me Chameleon Quilts. And register for the webinar. Make sure you take advantage of the awesome web specials. And I will be seeing you in about a half hour over on our webinar platform. So thanks for joining me today. I appreciate all of your comments and love. We'll be right back, and I'll see you in about 30 minutes for our awesome webinar with Desiree's Designs.